Hey, welcome back to Saved by the 90s. I want to introduce you to Uncle Danny. I met this guy driving down the road one day, and he was pulling an MG in on a trailer, and I said, hey, you like British cars? Well, I got a TR6. Anyways, we hit it off, both being car guys, and we started talking, and the rest is history. We're in his garage right now that he just had built, which is really nice because it's freezing cold outside. If you can't tell, I'm all bundled up, and so is Danny, because it is really cold outside today. Wanted to get you guys a little sneak peek of what we got going on for 2025. Uncle Danny's going to be in some videos since he does have this beautiful garage. I can come over here and maybe work on some of his cars. We can work on some of my cars, some of the 90s cars I got. But Danny's got some really cool old cars here. I'm going to go around in a minute outside and show you some of the cars. But I'm going to have Danny talk about some of the stuff too today and tell you what he's been doing on his builds. And then we'll get to working on some of this stuff hopefully soon, right, Danny?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about what you got behind us here.
Well, this is my 64 Ford Galaxy 500. I bought it in Greenville about 20-some years ago. And I've had to rebuild the engine. It broke the cam on the way down from Chicago one night. But so I rebuilt the engine. It's a 390, factory 390 4-barrel. It had a 3-speed on the column, but I changed it over to a C6 automatic, which I had to modify my transmission mount cross member. And I've had the interior redone, but it's been so long ago that the back deck is going to have to be recovered. And that's the only thing. But the rest of it, it looks kind of patina.
That's just you know, that comes with age, right?
Yeah, from sitting in the sun and tree sap, stuff like that. So the paint's all checked, micro checked. It's all going to have to go down to metal. You know, to repaint it and actually look right. You know, you have to take it down to the metal. They have different filler primers that's supposed to handle microcheck, but I've never seen it really work that good. So it's all going to go down to bare metal. But
well, yeah, this is going to be a beautiful car. I've told Danny I really can't wait to get a ride in this thing sometime. We may get it to start up today for this video. Just a little, again, preview of what we got coming for 2025.
The battery may be dead.
It may be dead. We don't know, but let's check her out.
I mean, you might think starting out, the battery's not that good. It's been cold.
It's freezing, like I said. So we may have to put her start. Oh, no. Oh, whoa, whoa, right on. Wow. Fire right up, didn't she? Listen to that thing burn. Wow. Got the Edelbrock on her, huh?
Yeah, it's all rebuilt and everything, but with this cold and moisture in the garage, the everything's kind of
sticking a little bit. Yeah.
That's why I have my PV blaster out. I was getting ready to come in and start squirting everything down. Now that I've set the choke back in, normally when I started, I just hit the pedal one time and hold it for a second and let off. That lets the choke set in and position itself. But being it's so stiff and cold, it's not one to really do it on its own. So that's what the PV blaster is for. But it's a 390 64, a 3-core aluminum radiator, electric fans, one in the back, one in the front. It's a push-pull. And
What distributor you got on this? You got a vacuum distributor?
the distributor's original distributor,
Uh huh.
but I've replaced the internals with Pertronix electronic ignition, along with the Pertronix coil, which is a hotter coil.
Right.
And as you see, it seems to run pretty good. I had to keep it running, keep it long enough to come out here and get the choke set down. But as it warms up and the choke opens, it idles just fine and accelerates great. Uh, the engine was rebuilt, valve job, of course. Uh, I forget what cam I put in it, but it's kind of mild. It's not really anything big time. And but it's got a nice idle to it, nice sound to it. It's not like your rocker,
Right.
but uh, the car's got power steering, which
Nice feature, of course. Yeah.
as I was saying, the uh, the
Power
cam is
steering. Yeah.
basically just a little bit stronger cam than normal. Uh, I don't remember what the lift was and stuff. I was just reading it the other night. I can't even remember it. I'm getting too old to remember stuff like that. But it's got the original reservoir that these FE blocks came out with back in the early 60s. You can change it over. They have a thermostat housing that will actually fit where that goes. So obviously on these radiators, the cap isn't on the radiator, it's on the reservoir.
Yeah.
So it all goes through here. And it's a thermostat, thermometer type cap. And adjusting with the electric fans, I can tell by the cap on how hot it's getting and when the fans are kicking in.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a solid body car. It's got one rust hole back here on the skirt, but that's easy to fix, very easy. I put a new floor pan in it.
Yeah.
The floor pan was shot. This whole floor in here is new from there to the same over here and all the way up to that last hump. Even the new gas filler housing. So, and I got it in by taking all the body mounts loose, taking the bolts off on the mount pads, took the bumper off, and I just jacked the body up, and we slid the whole piece all right up in there and went right in and laid right on the body mounts perfectly. Set the body back down, and it fit perfect. It came from was that A&D? A&D metals.
Okay. Is that
Um,
something you found online, or is that a
yeah, I
local
found it
place?
online, and they're very good. Their parts that they make come out perfect. I had ordered a replacement from another company, and all it was a piece of sheet metal, probably
Yeah.
about 3 feet wide, 4 feet long, and had some creasing in it for
Some
strength. But
contours,
that's
but
not
not to
factory.
fit. Yeah.
See, this is factory. Uh, so anyway, a couple carburetor gaskets and stuff.
Yeah.
Working on a new relay system for the fans to come on, because the problem with electric fans with these old cars, the ignition wire coming from the ignition switch out to the coil is a resistor wire. So it's resisting down to like 10 volts.
Okay.
Whereas these electric fans, you really need a 12-volt
12
deal.
volt. Mm-hmm.
The Pertronix electronic ignition, they said, would work fine on the 10 volts. But so I'm coming up with a relay system that will feed 12 volts to the relay for the fan without going through the ignition switch resistor wire. The trigger would come from there, you know, because I found out that these relays for the electric fans, if you don't have full 12 volts, if you only have like 9 or 10 volts feeding them, they burn out. And next thing you know, your car is getting hot.
Yeah.
So you have to go out there and direct wire it. So this has been in my family for a while now since I bought it. I bought it probably around 1999 or 2000 maybe.
That's the year I graduated high school, Danny.
Yeah. And I just was driving by down this road and outside of Greenville and saw it sitting in the yard a few times and it hadn't been moved, so I stopped to check on it.
Right. And that's how we find a lot of these old good cars. I swear I find them like that too.
A lot of people don't like to bother people about their cars, and a lot of people don't like for you to bother them. But if you're nice, you're approachable, polite, they'll talk to you.
Yeah.
You know, just treat them with respect.
Of course.
I ended up leaving with it well, I had to come back and get it, but I got it for like $800.
Yeah.
And at the time it was running, it just didn't have brakes.
And this thing fully restored, I mean, geez.
Well,
pretty penny, I'm sure.
About 40 grand.
Yeah.
Maybe low balling it, but in England, you can get a lot more.
Yeah.
Right now, the way this car is, I think I was told by a friend of mine in England that it would go for about $30,000.
Well, they didn't get these cars over there, so. Yeah,
it costs about $3,000, $3,500 to ship one to England. And of course, this little project is my 1923 T-bucket. I got it all apart because I'm going to redo the frame. I'm going to actually box the frame because this is the original 23 frame, and it's too tweaky. If you gas on it hard, it takes off one direction. When you let off, it takes off in the other direction. So
and that steering wheel right there is kind of hard to steer anyway.
That steering wheel is fun. But I've had this car up over 100 miles an hour on the interstate before. And it drove like a dream.
You are a brave man.
It drove like a dream. And whoever made this before, whoever put this together before, they kind of butchered up the floor. So that's one good thing about having the body off now, is I can redo the floor. That's original, the windshield apparatus. Of course, it's got chrome springs, chrome rear end housing. The trunk isn't chrome. Backing plates.
No, the spring was just basically a leaf spring at the time there.
Yeah.
Leaf spring.
The back was like this, and the front about the same way, but it just kind of an arc. And there's the radiator for it. I've got everything here, but it had a Chevy small block in it with what they call them with 2-speed Chevy automatic transmission. And they started knocking. We rode it pretty hard. So I decided to take it out. I got 2 flathead V8s from 53 Mercury's that I'm going to take the 2, hopefully can make one good one. And I'm going to go back with a flathead V8 from 53 Mercury and hopefully find a transmission small enough to adapt to it. You know, the adapters are probably about $600 or so for an adapter just to put the transmission to the motor.
Yeah.
But it should be able to take a C4 or something like that. You know.
This is how I met Danny right here. This is that MG I was telling you about. Now he's taking the engine out of it here, Danny, right? I mean, you got a lot of work going on this thing here.
Well, I took the engine out to change the clutch because something was wrong inside. I put a new clutch cylinder in it, master cylinder and slave cylinder and new lines, and could not get it to bleed. I finally did get it to bleed having this out, where I could actually move the fork more and get it to push. And I tried all kinds of different techniques. Every technique you could think of, I tried on it. And I finally got it to moving more than just 1/8 of an inch. You know, I got it moving pretty good now, and I think it'll work. So put the new clutch on, flywheel and all that, and put it back in. But I want to redo the engine bay before I put it back in, because I already have the paint for this. It's not really a red, but it's the red that they offered. I forget what it was called, but I already have everything I need to paint it. But I want to do the engine bay and the trunk and the door jambs. But
Where'd you find this one?
I found this one. I was at a welding shop, welding store um up in Knoxville, and a guy that does welding for a living came in with his son, and he asked his sales guy if he was interested in buying an MG, and he said, "Not really." And I asked him, "Well, what year is that MG?" He said, "It's a 70." And I said, "I used to have a 69 a long time ago for a very short period." Uh, so he showed me a picture of it, and I was interested in it. So I think I paid $2,200 for it, and it was actually a running car, and I drove it. Then I'm in the middle of replacing the vinyl on the top.
That's a fun project, isn't it?
Yep,
They got all these
but it's
little rivets that they put in here.
yeah, you got to wrap that underneath
Mm,
the edge. The old one is hanging up there now because I want to see
right.
exactly where it was actually
This is a
sitting.
new one here, which will look obviously brand
You
new.
have to do that on a warm day when it's.
Stay tuned for that. I mean,
Oh
if
yeah,
you weren't excited about the Galaxy, and I mean, I guess for everybody, there's a different cup of tea in car world, right, Danny? I mean, we got
yeah, yeah,
all different types of cars, and I love all different types of cars. I love British cars as one of my favorites. They're kind of just quirky and different.
yeah.
They,
They're very strange, but they run really good.
yeah. I told you guys I would give you a little sneak peek of Danny's collection of cars here, and he's got quite a few of them out in his yard, and soon they're going to be getting worked on. He's got a lot of ideas for swapping parts out of different cars and marrying some motors together and putting some other things together, and I'm really excited to be able to work with him on those vehicles and get some knowledge on some of these really older vehicles that I've not worked on before. We're also going to get into working on the Beast, the 95 K1500 truck that I have. We're going to do some work on that soon, Danny and I, and also we're going to do some work on Cherry Blossom, hopefully with the suspension stuff that needs to be done on Cherry Blossom. That's the 1990 Mazda Miata. So stay tuned. We really do have a lot coming up, and I hope you guys enjoy this stuff like I do. All right, everybody. So remember, like and subscribe. We got a lot coming up. Saved by the 90s. See me, C3, Uncle Danny. Got a lot of stuff going on here. A lot of cool things that I think you guys would like to see. Remember, the channel's not just 90s cars. I call it Saved by the 90s because that was my generation of cars. I love all cars, all motorcycles. We can't fix everything, but we can fix these old cars. We'll see you soon.
See you.